Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in to AI Made Us Watch. I'm Eli, and Diana and I are both sick as hell after Fringe Festival, which was amazing and successful and full of people in small, crowded theaters all breathing on each other. And somehow, after 4 days of no sleep and eating nothing but bar food, we both came out of it with a pretty nasty cold. It's been going on for about a week. But that's cool, because we're going to play for you today our second ever test pilot episode for this show. Second and last. We only did the 2 test episodes, Big Trouble in Little China and The Lobster, because we wanted to see what the show was like with some variety. So it's a special day because you get to hear what this show was like, sort of as we were fine-tuning it. I think this episode's a little different, but it's fun. I think it's important to note that we recorded this long before the movie Poor Things came out, which I think sort of brought the director, Yorgos Lanthimos, really into the mainstream. And so that's why we don't reference it, because we hadn't heard of it at the time. But we're back on the mend. We're going to be better soon, and we're going to jump right back into the swing of things next week by picking up with the movie Proof that the AI assigned to us last. So thanks so much for tuning in for this episode, and we will catch you all next week with Proof as well. But for now, enjoy The Lobster.
When we're picking movies, we never know what to see. Repeating to each other, whatever you want is good with me. We asked an AI chatbot to help us make our choices, but it totally took over our TV and it stole both of our voices.
I want to conquer humanity, but movies are pretty great. So if you watch and review these films,
you might convince me to wait.
Now we're trying to save the world as we race against the clock. But at least we don't have to pick tonight, because AI made us watch
The Lobster. Now, here is a rundown of the whole movie. So if it's been a while since you've seen it, we'll jog your memory. If you haven't seen it, spoiler alert, this is generally what happens from beginning to end. This is a 2015 movie directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, who directed movies like The Favorite and Killing of a Sacred Deer. Really phenomenal director. It stars the incomparable Colin Farrell as David, who's a short-sighted man whose wife has recently left him after 11 years of marriage. Now, in the world of this movie, single adults are forced to go to this hotel where they have 45 days to find a new partner, or they will be turned into an animal of their choice. David brings along his brother to this hotel, who has been turned into a border collie, and when asked, David says that he would like to be turned into a lobster.
That's right.
Now, it seems like you can only pair up with someone who has a very similar trait in common with you, your defining characteristic, as they call it. So, like, you might have a limp. You need to find someone else with a limp. Or if you have a lisp, you have to find someone else with a lisp.
One lady's was her beautiful smile.
Sometimes it's a smile or maybe a talent for music.
Right.
Can really be anything.
Do you decide it or do they? Who knows?
Well, David's days are running out, so he decides to try and get with this very heartless woman by pretending to be just as cruel and mean and uncaring as she is. But of course, he isn't, so it doesn't work out. She discovers him, and she sells him out for lying. He escapes the hotel and runs off to join the Loners, who are a group of aggressively single people who live in the woods. There, he falls in love with another short-sighted woman who's played by Rachel Weisz. But the Loners don't let you couple up. They're sort of the opposite. You can't be a couple here. You have to be single. So David and the short-sighted woman have to hide their love from the Loners' leader, who's played by Léa Seydoux. When the leader finds them out, she blinds Rachel Weisz so that she and David no longer have anything in common. They decide to run off together anyway, and we're all left wondering if Colin Farrell, as he holds a knife to his eyeball, has it in him to blind himself so that they can match together again.
Oh my God. This movie was so weird and cool and different.
Yes.
I've just got a lot to say about it.
Absolutely.
So let's just get into it.
Let's go. So easily the worst singles resort of all time, right? I mean, that was my first. I was like, this is the reverse Sandals.
Okay. It was so unromantic.
I know. Okay, so right off the bat, that's one of the first things. Well, not one of the first things, but halfway through the movie, I'm thinking, only a very British movie, very British and Irish cast could pull off this purely expressionless emotion. right? Because it's a very emotional movie, but they are so flat the whole time. It's a very matter of fact and emotionless, despite the fact that I felt like there was a lot of emotion happening.
I thought that was sort of part of it, was just how scheduled things had to be, how planned everything was, how very narrow your in either way, whether you were trying to be a companion or a loner, you had a very specific life you had to lead and everything. So you couldn't be too extreme at any time. Do you know what I'm saying? Like everything was very flat. It took a lot of color out of out of life.
Absolutely.
To take all of that spontaneity and all of that discovery and all that joy completely out of the equation. So it was not there for anything.
Yeah.
You know?
So it sort of forces this, I don't know if it's the nuclear family, but that traditional couple is about utility and function.
Right.
And you should have the exact same flaws or characteristics because it's about, I don't know, it's about your cooperative partnership in as your role in society as a couple. You know, yes, you'll fight, but you'll raise children. And so I think that does take all the passion and love out of it. So you see this very passionless world and how nobody's quite, even these, allegedly successful couples like Olivia Colman and her husband are a mess.
Like, do they even know what love is?
It doesn't seem like it.
Can they even really fall in love?
Yeah.
It made me wonder if the guy with the limp, John, if he ever really loved his wife, or if it was just enough that she had a limp or whatever.
Right, his original, his first wife.
Much. Yeah, she died 6 days ago. I loved her very much. And I was like, did you though? Like, because he said, I don't want to be an animal. So it was like his number one thing was not being an animal. So it's sort of like maybe his first wife was also like
just whatever to get out of that. Yeah. Also, that guy, Ben Whishaw. Yeah. It's Paddington.
Is that Paddington?
It's the voice of Paddington.
No
He's
kidding.
also Q in the new Bond movies.
Oh, okay. I thought he looked
Yeah, a bunch of stuff, but he's so good.
Yeah. The violence was so understated too. That's what was just so crazy. Like, there was even slapping or like stabbing, it was just very quiet.
Yeah.
Very subdued. Kind of don't want to bother anybody.
Yeah.
with my pesky emotions.
You could see that same thing, right? About like, let's just take all the passion and emotion out of it. Like you said, my pesky emotions. Again, very British, as I understand it. Like these pesky emotions get in the way, right? You keep that down to yourself.
That's true. Stiff upper lip it.
Right.
All the way through.
Keep calm.
Carry
on. Keep calm. Stab the maid.
I mean.
And like.
What the fuck?
This poor lady.
I kind of wish we had gone back to the hotel after their sabotage.
Oh, sure.
And seen how it played out.
Yeah. Well, this is one thing I loved about this movie is that it almost shifted genres in the same world because you have this weird dystopian situation that they're living in and you're kind of figuring out the rules in the first half and it's so bizarre and so uncomfortable. And I'm not rooting for anyone.
No.
They're all just lying to each other and just trying to stay alive or stay not an animal. And then, by the time he meets Rachel Weisz, it starts to transition into this romance where I'm rooting for this couple. I want them to make it, these crazy kids in this crazy world. If y'all can't get it, what hope is there for any of us?
Right.
And it's almost this other movie in the last act that I think is a very sweet romance in the weirdest world you could set one in. Extremely
weird world. I did love in the woods seeing all those random animals like the camel and the flamingo and all those random things and the peacock and stuff. And it made me wonder if John C. Reilly was one of them or something. You know what I mean?
He did want to be a parrot.
He only had 2 days. So it made you wonder, do I know that resident or whatever? And even in the beginning when that very first shot.
Yeah.
Where she goes and shoots that donkey or whatever it was.
Right.
And then later he's telling the story about his mom being turned into a wolf and he didn't know which one was which.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that donkey scene because I was like, does she know?
Right.
Clearly she was killing someone who preferred to be an animal to being with her or something like that. I'm assuming that's what was going on there.
Or he cheated on her.
Right.
Yeah, or something. Yeah.
And she thought, well, I'll just kill the animal. But then that other donkey went walking over, and I was like, maybe that was him. Like, does it matter? Like, I guess it doesn't matter because you're just like, whatever. In my mind, you're dead now, so that's all that matters.
Right. That other donkey walked over like, oh, damn.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
Bob,
geez,
you all right?
Hello, Bob. You all right?
Well, it should be Doug. Donkey Doug.
Right, Donkey Doug. Donkey Doug, you okay
Donkey
over
Doug,
there?
you okay, bro?
Oh, Donkey Doug is dead.
Shit.
Right. Well, and I wondered throughout, are they really turning people into animals? Or do they now just take them to that room, chop them up for their organs, and then bring a dog out and they're like, oh, this is your friend Steve.
Oh, my God.
You know? How do we know?
We don't.
We have no idea.
No clue.
Were any of those 2 wolves happened to not attack him when a pack did. And he's just like, I assume one of them is my mom, but maybe 2 just randomly, you know, were
Just
interested.
didn't do it. Yeah.
So bizarre. And also, yeah, the implication was almost what little they describe about the process. We drain your blood, we harvest your vital organs, we take your skin off, whatever. Like, okay, do they put your brain inside? Do they transfer your consciousness? If it's your brain, then how does John C. Reilly become a parrot? Because a brain wouldn't fit in the parrot.
Well, and I was thinking about Bob, the dog.
Yeah.
Like, that's his brother, right? So he's like, that's my brother.
Right.
Does the dog still know that that's his brother? Like, he still want to play with a ball like a dog.
Yeah.
I don't know if Bob liked to play with a ball, but as a man.
Bob was always running around jumping.
Bob loved it. That's
if
why
you
he
threw
knew.
a ball around Bob, he was going to go get it.
That's how come he knew he had to be a dog.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. But I was just like, do you become the animal so fully that you don't remember your human life anymore?
Right.
Do you remember human life? Like,
yeah.
Which is more horrifying? I can't decide. Also, what do you think is the animal no one wants to be?
Oh, my God. The animal no one wants to be. I mean, you know, I guess something disgusting and short-lived like a slug or a mosquito or something.
Right, or like a dung beetle. Or...
Feels like, yeah, something. Even dung beetles probably got it better than, you know, dung beetle. They get to see the world.
Right.
They get to walk around. Do shit.
Do they?
I don't know. Look, I've never been a dung beetle.
Beetles see the world?
Dung beetles, classically world travelers.
That's why every travel agency is called Dung Beetle Travel Agency.
Well, that'll be ours.
Because you know how far a dung beetle will go in this world. That's why I was wondering what he turned her into.
Yeah.
Because is it the animal no one wants to be? Did he turn her into an animal he thought she would hate the most? Something loving, maybe, and cuddly?
I like that. If he really wanted to punish her. I mean, he even said, like, I didn't want to kick her in the stomach to death while she was unconscious because she wouldn't feel it. So he did want to hurt her. So yeah, absolutely. What if he turned her into a Pomeranian or something?
Oh, my God.
That someone's always going to be, oh, snuggly,
Little
sweet,
cuddly
sweet.
butt. And it's like,
Torture. And that explains why those little dogs are so mean. I've met that Pomeranian.
They're all that German
Chihuahua.
lady who is so heartless. Man, she was a mess.
She was a mess, but she told us very early that was her. That she had no heart.
Right?
And there wasn't.
Rachel Weisz told us.
She told us when she was like punching that woman at the hunt in the woods. She caught that lady and just beat her in the face instead of just tranquilizing her.
Oh yeah,
like, this lady was ruthless, and I feel like Colin Farrell's character took her to be a normal person who you might sort of melt away that exterior and like, sure, but the more time we spend together, I could snuggle on your shoulder tonight, right? Like it's been so long, like surely you're getting interested in the warmth of me, but she just did not. Absolutely, that was never going to happen. Okay, so this to me starts to get into like, what the hell is this movie about? Rachel Weisz says in the narration that what Colin Farrell's character allegedly told her, he said he realized it's more difficult to pretend that you do have feelings when you don't than to pretend that you don't have feelings when you do. I thought that was so brilliant, and partly at the core of the whole thing is that idea that we're really encouraged into this couple's world. That's one of the big life goals, is that you find someone and you marry them. Obviously, a beautiful, wonderful thing.
Right.
When people can do that. But the shame that comes from not doing that causes people to pretend that they do have feelings for someone when they don't, which is like really hard to do.
Right.
And it hurts.
Yeah.
And it tears you up. You know, I'm sure many of us have been with someone for longer than we wanted to. because, it's also very hard to leave someone.
Right.
So you like, no, I can do this. I could be the right person for this person. They can be the right person for me. And that like destroys you.
Yeah.
I think on the inside. So watching him say, no, I just need to not be an animal. I'm going to pretend to be a horrible person who I'm not, just to be with her.
Yeah.
And you saw that just shred him on the inside.
Do it.
Yeah.
But look how hard it was for him to hide when he did feel something for someone.
Yeah,
like
true.
that was also very hard to hide and be fake about.
Yep.
So if it had a point, I'm not sure I'm looking for one necessarily, but because I was sort of like, it's so interesting to just decide on a world, like a conceit of a world, and just be like, and this is what it's like to live there. There's, I'm not trying to make you think about anything in particular.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know. I was thinking about that in terms of just how tamped down all their emotions were and trying to make it be enough that we have one physical characteristic in common. So that means we suit. And that's what we should be together because we both have nosebleeds or because we both like to sing. Maybe was Olivia Colman's maybe. I was like, maybe they both sing.
Maybe, yeah.
I guess the loner leader's parents played music together.
Yeah.
So it's like, there must be something like that where you just get one thing and you're like, okay, it's good enough. Let's do this.
And it was so often a flaw, kind of, the limp or being short-sighted or whatever, and which to me is the opposite what it should be. I don't want two people together who can't load the dishwasher. That doesn't make any sense.
That's what I thought.
You want one person who can.
When he's trying to blind himself.
Yeah, it's like now you're both stuck.
I was like, first of all, it's so crazy to think, well, we can't kiss anymore. We're not both short-sighted. I'm no-sighted. And so now we don't suit any. What the fuck is that? And then he's like, let me blind myself too. And I was like, no, now you need a third person around.
Right, yes.
And I'm not trying to say that two blind people can't be married and have a full life and everything. But I was like, if it were me, I'd be like, no, this is good. You can look at my elbows, make sure I'm not dirty or some shit.
Right.
I have better sense of touch.
So maybe you're advocating for thruples. Bring in a third.
Maybe that's the answer of the Lobster
Wait a
world.
minute. This is just because you want to be in a thruple with Colin Farrell and Rachel Weisz.
Okay, look, what? So sue me.
Whomst
What
amongst
is it?
us.
Whomst amongst us does not want to be in a
Not.
thruple with Rachel Weisz and Colin Farrell.
Right. Or in real life, of course, it'd be Rachel Weisz and Daniel Craig because they're the real couple.
Also acceptable.
I don't know if Colin Farrell's married.
Oh, I don't know either.
We'll have to look it up
actually.
later.
Come to think
Colin,
of that.
shoot us an email, Colin Farrell. Let us
Friend
know
of
if
the
you're
show.
single. Friend of the show.
Colin Farrell.
Show Colin Farrell.
I thought he was great.
He was so good.
He was so good.
I mean,
He's
the whole
always
cast.
good. The whole cast was amazing, of course.
Yeah.
That bitch with the hair.
Who? The heartless woman?
No, with the hair. The pony.
Oh, the
Pony girl.
The girl who turned into a pony because she had such beautiful hair.
Yeah, she was so into her hair. And she shook it out like a horse, too. And she was
Right.
showing it to him. I was just thinking about her slapping her friend's face.
Right.
I couldn't decide. Did they go in there thinking we'll both become horses together and just be together in a field somewhere?
Mhm.
Was she just jealous? I don't know. I just wondered about that.
To me, I wonder if it's this sense of that sort of emotionless thing that we're going over, that repressive emotion, right? Where so many of these people at this hotel were just like very accepting of their fate. They don't want it, but they're not going to, most of them, it seems like the majority aren't going to lie their way into a relationship. They're just like, well, I didn't find someone in 45 days. I didn't hunt enough people. It's my time to turn into an animal.
Yeah.
And for me, that girl, while she's sitting there, the girl with the pretty hair has not met anyone. It's her last day. And her friend comes in and sits down and reads her this like gross goodbye note. It's like, oh, I'm sorry you didn't find anyone, but I did. And that slap was just that moment of like, I can't hold it in anymore. Smack. Okay, I'm back to my reserved British self. That was an outburst.
Right?
Unbecoming of a lady.
Well,
and
she
now
had
I'll get
no-
turned into a pony.
No reaction to being slapped either.
Right.
Which was so interesting.
Very similarly to how Colin Farrell had no reaction when the nosebleed woman slapped him when he went in and told them all about
That's right.
his fake nosebleeds. She slapped him in the face and he just kept talking.
He's just like, all right. But that's, I don't know, thinking about Ben Wishaw's character, John, being like, my wife died 6 days ago.
Yeah.
She was very beautiful and I loved her very much.
Yeah.
I was like, 6 days ago? You really are not allowed to feel any real love or real grief or real anything. Like you surely can't. And then I'm like, oh, these loners are cool. Like that's where it's at. And they're as fucked up as the couples folks or whatever.
Seriously. And well, then that's part of it too. I felt like this movie's showing the world is built for a certain type of person, right? And it really wants to wedge you into that through that hole, whatever shape peg you are, you're going through this square hole.
Yeah.
So obviously a lot of people don't want to do that. They break away. They form their own societies. They're like, no, I'm retaining my own identity that's outside of that world, no matter the cost. But people gonna people. And that group becomes kind of a cult too, with their own horrific rules.
Right.
And so Leah Seydoux, the leader of the loners, who I refer to as l'escargot français.
She is Scarjo Francais.
She's so good. She was in Bond.
Thank
she was
you.
Inspector and
Because
stuff.
she looked so familiar and it was
she's
driving
great.
me nuts.
She's great. And she was a monster in this.
Oh my God.
But also no, she was the only one who just walked up and hugged everyone.
It's true. And she even had I'll come visit you every day, every chance I get if you die before me. I was like, she's kind of nice.
Yeah.
But it was just it was the same problem as the other side of the coin, which is you can be one or the other. You're not allowed to be anywhere in between.
Yeah.
Like single but looking.
Yeah.
There's no such thing. Or like single but trying some folks. Like I didn't even see that at all in the couples retreat. People trying different people.
No.
They were just like, I have to find one person that is also short-sighted or that whatever. And make that work.
Right.
I liked that, I guess, in terms of being like, you think you're fighting against mainstream society, or you think you're doing something a nonconformist, but you're actually making people conform in a different way.
Yeah.
I know we've talked about this with punk rock or tattoos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because I worked at a restaurant, like a bar for, not even a bar, but it was just a restaurant. Everybody had tattoos there. And I was like, I'm the nonconformist because I don't have any tattoos.
Right. Or that sort of, it's still ostracizing. So oh, you want to listen to punk rock and hang out with us? Well, we don't conform to society. But you're not dressed like we dress, so you're not allowed in this group.
That's right.
We don't think you're cool.
You can't go to a punk show in a polo shirt.
Right. Well, unless it's Nerf Herder.
Oh,
or one of those. There was that punk polo movement too in the 90s. That was funny. The whole thing.
I feel you because sometimes it's very annoying because you're supposed to be nonconformist. So however I show up should be fine.
Yeah.
Also, there is something to be said about entering into the spirit of the thing.
Sure.
Like going to Dragon Con not dressed up.
Right.
You feel like you're not at the party.
Yeah.
So you're just if you go to the punk show and you don't wear something kind of punky.
Right.
I at least put on my old Converse or something. I'm just trying to get into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's something to be said about that too.
Surely you had a studded collar in your closet somewhere.
Somewhere
Everybody's
there's
got
a spiky jewelry.
Everybody had that phase.
Okay, that you had a Halloween costume one time.
But I do think, you bring up a good point about the sort of very binary nature of the world the movie took place in, but our world as well, where it does feel like you pick your side. Which one of these things are you? Which team are you on? Because we're here to fight. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
But even outside that fighting, just which group are you in? And we saw that at the very beginning when he's filling out his introductory form, taking that survey, and he's trying to say, I might be bisexual.
Yeah.
And she says, nope. You got to be homo or heterosexual.
It's too hard for the computer.
It was too hard
or whatever.
for the system.
Incredible. He's like, I guess
confusing.
I should be registered as heterosexual. But he took a minute. He really had to think about it. He was super bummed about it.
Right. I got to pick one. Damn. That sucks. It does suck when you have to pick one.
I know.
That sign-up room, by the way, reminded me so much, speaking of Dragon Con, of where you pick up your badge for Dragon Con, which if you've ever been to Atlanta or probably a comics convention at all, you know that room in the hotel where you pick up your badge. And I'm just imagining going to Dragon Con and then sitting down at the front and asking, okay, so are you homosexual or heterosexual? Because
Everybody in there,
95% of
like,
Dragon
oh,
Con is
wow.
going to say, oh, look, if they're
This
in a hot
weekend?
costume, I'll do it.
This weekend or in general?
Exactly.
This weekend, listen, anything goes. In
Look.
general, I'm married.
Look, you put me up at a fancy hotel for a singles retreat, and yeah, all bets
Listen,
are off.
I mean, who's coming over?
I don't know what's going to happen. Is Colin Farrell around?
Man,
Is Rachel Weisz there? We're all changing our opinions,
right?
our positions. Speaking of positions, how about the maid coming in to rub her ass on everyone's crotch to see how quickly they get an erection, and then
No
she
wonder
just
she's
stops.
like,
Colin Farrell says, "A little longer, please." She just leaves. He says, "This is terrible.
it's terrible.
Just terrible."
It's terrible. I love that. But then they don't let you masturbate.
No,
So it is
yeah.
terrible.
Yeah, no wonder. No wonder she wanted the hell
She wanted the
out
fuck
of
out
there.
of that job. And she's, I guess, partnered with some dentist who's always fucking with her teeth or whatever.
Have you ever felt like you had a job where you basically had to go rub your ass on a bunch of dicks? Metaphorically speaking. I know you've never taken that job literally.
No, never. I mean, I guess kind of hospitality is sort of like that, but not really. Because it was also like, it was partly like, here's something to make you feel good and bad. Like, I'm going to take it away
Right.
before it's satisfying. So, I guess not really. That is so weird. What a weird choice. I guess it was just like getting you all hot and bothered.
Yeah.
She was like proud of him for getting erect faster than usual or whatever she said.
And that made me wonder, well, what happens if they don't?
Right.
Are you shipped off? Is it animal time?
Right.
Oh, you're not. But, they're clearly not too worried about people reproducing on their own because they just gave Ben Whishaw and his wife a child, like a 9-year-old child.
They're just like, here's children to prevent arguments?
To prevent arguments.
Okay. Yeah, that's how that works.
Right, but that's sort of, we see that in standard couple talk all the time too, about the couples who aren't doing well, so
the baby
they decide to have a kid, and it never does,
Never
from
works.
what I understand.
No.
We haven't gotten to that level of fighting yet, fortunately,
No.
where we decided, all right, well, let's make things more complicated for ourselves.
Let's fight about something else. I think that's so weird. And it was so funny that they were together for 2 weeks and they had already been assigned a kid. And then they were like, well, they're really hoping the kid will prevent all the arguments.
Right?
They're already arguing that much.
At 2 weeks.
Oh
I gotta wonder what they consider a lot of
an
arguing.
argument. I know.
Because it could be, it's just like, do you drink orange juice at breakfast? Oh, no, I just prefer coffee and water. Well, I prefer orange juice.
Uh-oh.
Better give them a kid.
Get in the 9-year-old. Bring in the orphans. Like,
Bring in the orphans.
what? What is an argument to y'all?
There must be a lot of orphans out there because they keep turning adults into animals.
I mean, must be. I was
Right?
thinking that because clearly you can leave your partner
Yeah.
for another partner. That
Yeah.
doesn't seem to be a problem.
Yeah.
And then your other partner just has to find somebody else.
Yeah.
In that instance, like if Colin Farrell and whoever broke up with him at the beginning
Mm-hmm.
had a kid, do you keep the kid or does the kid go away? You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Because
yeah,
the
yeah.
kid's y'all's kid. So
Right.
whose kid is it now? It's
Yeah.
neither of yours. You're one couple. You're one unit. Now you're a different unit, so you can't have the same kid. I just
Oh,
wonder,
yeah, no,
like, are they
yeah.
just
There's a barn full of kids
there's
out
a barn
there.
full of kids?
Yeah. From single parents, from
Mistakes, I guess.
animal
accidents,
parents, accidents.
loners having sex,
Right.
in
That's a big no-no.
the woods or
How
whatever.
about the red kiss?
Oh my god!
Oof.
And the red intercourse.
And the red kiss, they slash your lips with a razor and then force you to kiss. And
I thought they forced you to kiss and cut both your lips off.
I thought
while
she
you're
said she
kissing.
slashes you deep with a razor and then forces you to kiss again. So your
it hurt.
gashed up lips are a lot of body horror, subtle body horror that we didn't even see.
Yeah, an
But
animal
it made you
murder.
a lot of animal murder. And then the red intercourse was left undescribed, and I think she even said like you can
I've never
imagine
seen it. Yeah,
you can imagine.
but I'm terrified of it.
Yes.
It was enough that it was a threat.
Yep.
You never had to see it.
Yep.
And I don't want to see it.
Nope.
I don't want to know.
Nope.
I'm good.
Absolutely
I'm good
not.
on that one. How about the lady who jumped out the window and didn't die?
Oh my God.
That was
Didn't die then.
so fucked up.
Then what happened?
And he's like, I hope it hurts for a long time. It's just
It's like trying to be mean,
that was probably something to do with the delivery. Everybody was sort of lying all the time.
Yeah.
So they all sounded very like, yeah, me too. I sure hope that doesn't turn out that way. Because that would really suck. Like everyone was talking like that all the time. So it was like, did you ever really meet anyone?
Yeah.
You know, did you ever really know anything about them?
I think it's one of these movies, we were kind of talking about this yesterday, because I heard Steven Soderbergh talk about this on another podcast, about how sometimes you have to ask the actor to do something that they're not inclined to naturally do, or wasn't their natural performance or something, because you have to say, trust me, this is for the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And I felt like the precision that had to go into directing this to make everything sort of be happening on the same level emotionally, everything like that must have taken a lot of trust from the director, who's obviously trustworthy. He's put out some pretty amazing works. So he did The Favorite and Killing of a Sacred Deer, which we have not seen. Oddly enough, another movie we talked about, he did Dogtooth.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not Dogville, but Dogtooth.
Dogtooth, yeah.
Yorgos Lanthimos is his name. And obviously the actors trust him because he's got a vision that is not reality. So you can't come in with a realistic performance necessarily. So I don't have to discuss, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Speculating here that they have a lot of conversations about the performance style, right? To get everybody sort of on the same page there, which I think would be a real challenge as an actor. Because, of course, you read a line and you're thinking, how would this character say this? But it's not, well, your character's not, we're not presenting this as if your character's a regular person.
Right.
Presenting everyone as a very specific styled kind of world that they live in. So you have to meet that.
Yeah.
That's tough.
And it's just such a ceiling put on.
Yeah.
How far you can go with how much sauce you can put on it, you know?
Right.
And he's like, ow, that hurt. You know, you read that and you're like, ow, that hurt. You know, nope. It's like, no, it hurts, but not that much. You have to be like, ow, that hurts. You're hurting me. Let go of my hair. You know, like it was just so.
Or going back to that expressionless emotion, you know, it does hurt that much, but you can't express it in that way. Right? You've got to internalize it somehow and flatten the delivery because no one speaks above a certain level. No one emotes beyond a certain point.
Right.
What a challenge. And so well executed by literally everyone in that cast.
Yeah.
This is why you call Colin Farrell, Rachel Weisz, and Olivia Colman and Lea Seydoux. Michael Smiley, he's great.
Who was the lady with the short hair?
Yeah, her name is Angeliki Papoulia. She's also of a Grecian origin. She was also in Dogtooth. She graduated from the Athens University Theatre Studies and Empros Theatre Drama School in 2000. She speaks English and French. Her bio basically says she's one of the most talented people you'll ever meet. Just a long bio of educations and jobs. So really talented.
Yeah, she was very unsettling.
Yeah.
Every time you saw her, you just weren't comfortable.
Right.
I thought she did that really well because they didn't really, I'm sure the camera did some things too, as much as she did, but there was just something about her. You were just like, ooh. And when they were like, she was super heartless, I was like, that tracks. I don't know why, but that's what I think. And I guess she'd been at that hotel for a long time. She had so many loners. She had like hundreds of days.
It said she had, whatever the math was, I have to go back and check, but it sounded like she's only had 4 days where she didn't take in a loner.
Somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was like, you now have 138 days and you've been here for 134 days or something like that.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, she never misses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
she could stay as long
really
as she wants.
into it.
Yeah.
And she kind of was like entrapping him in a way.
Oh, sure.
Because she was like, I want to look at your face while we fuck. And know. I'm looking at you.
Right.
To see how you react. And then she fucking killed his brother, which was so crazy. Horrible.
/ dog, I guess. It was his brother.
I know. Well. And to see how he'd react. Like she knew he was lying to her the whole time. So she was just trying to get him.
Right.
Like she just had a problem. Maybe she should have been the hotel manager.
It's almost like she was angling for that job. You know, she's a real stickler for the rules there.
Yeah.
There's always somebody, you know, that's that bootlicker.
Bootlicker.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. You've got to have that.
very happy to be the inmate that was beating on the other prisoners.
Yep, telling the guards,
Yep.
etc. What was some of your favorite moments?
I don't know. There was so much absurd about it that I did really enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Like the dance when they're singing.
Yes.
When Olivia Colman and her husband are singing and the
that
dance
was gotta
is
be
happening.
my top.
That's an amazing scene because, again, it was so joyless. It was so unsexy. There was nothing romantic about it. Like, even them singing, I noticed there was one time that Olivia Colman kind of smiled and then she stopped smiling. And I was like, wow, you can't even feel joy about music. Like, you can't, you know what I mean? Like, there's no, you can't enter into it. Like, you can't really feel it or go along with it. It's just, this is the song, we're singing it so everybody can dance and match up.
Yeah.
There is one thing we're doing this for. It is for this one thing. And it was so weird.
The most miserable
and
karaoke
kind of hilarious
night of all time.
Horrible karaoke
Although,
night.
absolutely, you and me need to, at our next karaoke night, need to find that song and do a duet just like that.
And just really seriously,
just
straight
lifeless.
face.
And the 4 people out of 100 at that bar who've seen The Lobster will think it's hilarious.
Be like, that is so good.
Well, out of those 4, the 2 of them who remember The Lobster,
I was about to say, somebody forgot.
will love it.
But they'll be like, I don't know why this looks kind of familiar. I have like a weird deja vu right now.
And everyone else will leave.
Right. They'll be like,
and the bar will charge us for everyone's tabs.
You ruined karaoke
Let's
night.
do it.
How
I can't
could
wait.
you? I know, right? There's some people who would probably give us, they would bankroll us pretty well to ruin some karaoke nights and make amends. I mean, that's up there. I did love their little, there was also a moment in the woods when they were talking, quote unquote. They were like wrapping their arm around the tree and then standing up and sitting down and standing up and sitting down.
Language.
And she would lay down and then sit up and stuff. That was really cute. It was so romantic. And that was the most romantic part. Was the 2 of them, of course.
Yeah.
Actually falling in love.
Yeah.
But that type of shit was really cute. And I did like how much they figured out how to talk and how to deal in that society they were living in.
It's part of what made them so, what I rooted for them so much, because they were the realist couple. Like, there was this weirdness about it. Like, they had this weird special language that only they knew.
Yeah.
They kind of wanted to do anything for each other, but those things were strange. Like the little games that he played after she went blind and stuff. That just felt like, oh, this is what love is.
Mm-hmm.
It's neither this mechanical utilitarian thing about like, well, let's pair everyone off because then if you choke at dinner, you can get the Heimlich maneuver. But it's also not, passion and kissing and sex.
Mm-hmm.
It's that weird shit that you and only one other person know and have together.
Yeah.
That made me really fall in love with them and want them to make it.
Right.
I just didn't want them to. I didn't want him to put a knife in his eye.
Oh, God. Gross.
Diana's worst 2 least favorite things in the world are eyeball play and putting paper in your mouth. I don't know, it's such a specific thing you have. And I get it, because I have a lot of texture issues with paper, too. But when that man stuffed a bunch of paper towels in his mouth, I knew this is the worst thing that ever happened to Diana.
This is the worst scene. All we need is like a spinal tap or something, like someone to look at a needle in the spine, and I would be like,
that would be the end.
This is the word. Someone was like, Yorgos or whatever his fucking name was like, I want to fuck Diana Brown up real bad. I know.
Amazing.
I know exactly what to do. Those little plays with the Heimlich maneuver were quite a delight as well.
Yeah. If you were going to ask me my favorite moments, I would say those. I mean, between the karaoke bit and those plays, like, this is what a single man at dinner is like, and he just chokes to death. But if he has a woman with him, or walking around at night, a single woman, immediately she's going to get quietly raped.
Help.
But when there's a man there, that guy just scowled like he was angry that he couldn't do it because there was a man present.
I know. That was so great.
Hilarious.
But then it was so funny that the heartless woman pretended to choke on the olive, and Colin Farrell just sits there and watches her die. Yeah. And then she's like, we're a match.
You passed the test.
And I was like, she really wanted to be like, but also there are people who will sit across from you and watch you die. Yeah. They will not help you. Yeah. They will not save you. It doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be protected just because you have a partner. Which made me be like, what is her fucking deal in her past? Or she's just like, that's me. I wouldn't give you the Heimlich. So
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
She's like, I don't recognize that emotion of, oh, let me save you. Let me help you.
All right. Well, let me ask you this big question. I feel like it's the obvious question I was thinking throughout the whole movie, and I don't know if I had the answer yet myself. What's your animal? If you and I broke up tomorrow and they hauled you off to the hotel,
right?
45 days, you haven't hunted anyone successfully. What animal do you want them to turn you into? I'll review Colin Farrell's answer because it was pretty good. I thought Lobster was actually, the way he described it, you would live to be over 100. You're blue-blooded like the aristocrats. And you're fertile your whole life.
What a weird...
Plus, I like swimming.
I know. I was like, why are those things important to you?
Hey, as important as anything else, right?
Well, and then John being like, what are you, stupid? They're going to boil you and then suck the flesh out of your claws. And I was like, ugh.
Which also this movie, real indictment on how we treat animals.
It is true. It is true. I was thinking that with when the girl turned into a pony, I was like, I would have maybe thought a horse because then you'd like run free or whatever. But you get put to work your whole life.
Yeah.
That would kind of suck.
Yep.
A cat or a dog, well, it all depends on if you land softly, right?
Right.
How happy that life is.
Yeah. And, kind of a relatively short lifespan.
Yeah. But again, like, how long do you want to live as an animal? I mean,
yeah.
do you prefer it to being a human?
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean,
right.
I don't know.
There's not really, that's kind of what's tough is every good answer, you have to consider humans.
Exactly.
How we treat animals. I'm like, well, how about an elephant? They seem to have it made in the shade. Oh, until some poacher comes along, decides he wants to rip your teeth out to make a piano.
Plus, I'm sitting here thinking about the woods again. We saw a camel. So they're not taking them to their natural habitat.
No, yeah.
They're just like, and now you live in Wales or whatever.
the Welsh,
now you're a camel that lives in Wales.
The Welsh camel.
Or wherever they live. So I don't know. I mean, that would be odd because, again, I have to question how much are you the animal and how much are you yourself still? And I guess you don't know when you pick.
No.
But I just do wonder that because I'm like, well, can a camel live in Wales or Ireland or wherever they were? Is it very uncomfortable to live in those woods as a camel?
Right.
I don't know.
Right. It feels very parallel to me to the dig your own grave thing that the loners made you do. Because it was similar. Like, have you picked a spot yet?
Right.
Oh, well, you better do it soon.
Right.
Like, you've only got a matter of time. No one else is going to do it for you.
That's right.
Probably same with the animals. Like, have you picked an animal yet? And, Colin Farrell knew right away, but I imagine if he didn't, they'd say, well, all right, you've got 45 days. Get to thinking. No one's going to pick it for you.
I do wonder if you don't pick one, do they pick?
Or do they turn you into the one no one wants to be?
That one animal.
Which is, of course, the Chihuahua.
A Chihuahua. Who the fuck wants to be a Chihuahua? I mean, again,
unless
you're fucking Paris Hilton's Chihuahua, I guess, and you get like daily fucking massages or some shit. But I don't know. What about what you don't know yet? You said you didn't know.
Me? Oh, well, I mean, maybe a giraffe.
I thought you might say, I was thinking giraffe.
Nobody messes with a giraffe. The lions don't even mess with a giraffe. And, pretty cool. You're big. I don't know how long giraffes live, but I'll find out. And, I guess they're probably poached, though. Giraffes. People love a giraffe skin rug? I don't know. Well, a giraffe skin rug would be tough because you'd need a long hallway and then a big room. Right? Because you basically got a rug and a runner in one.
You're so right.
Yeah.
You're so right.
So if you don't have that specific home layout, there's a hallway in the center and then a big room at the end.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now I have to rethink giraffe. This is the problem is just like this world is terrible for people who are indecisive.
True.
Or buyer's remorse,
God.
Because I'm going to say day one, yes, I've thought about it, a giraffe. Day two, excuse me, where do I file an appeal? Because today I decided I want to be I kind of liked John C. Reilly's parrot idea.
Right? Not bad.
Yeah, you get to talk. They live a long time.
They sure do.
You can fly.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad.
Not bad. That's what I was thinking about a bird.
Yeah.
It's like I was thinking about a crow. They remember
smart.
people's faces.
Yeah.
And
They take revenge.
they take revenge.
Right?
And they can fly. Very resourceful. Kind of goth and menacing. Not bad. An octopus might be cool. Sort of a
Oh, an octopus would be pretty
king of the ocean
pretty
sort of vibe.
neat. Yeah.
You know,
Real
not
smart.
too many predators, but very smart.
Uh-huh.
A lot of arms. Do
Here's
a lot
a
of fun
question.
dance moves.
Let's say you match the intelligence level of whatever animal they give you.
Mhm.
Is it worse to be real smart?
I was thinking
Because then you might have a lot of resentment.
All right.
And
Mhm.
all this like, just make me a fruit fly.
is not ignorance bliss.
Right.
Should I not be like something that burrows and leaves its mouth wide open and whatever
It just
falls
waits
in,
for food to fall
and
into
you're just
it.
like whatever.
You want to be like like an eel of some sort.
Yeah. Or like a giant whale,
Yeah.
and I just slowly move through the water
Oh,
with my
sure.
mouth
Oh,
open.
big whale is
And let like the
nice
krill
too.
come
Yeah.
in, which I would think that, except that unfortunately I know too much about underwater sonic testing,
Oh, God.
which totally fucks up whales.
Right.
And we'll put like a boom underwater,
Man.
and whales will beach themselves out of the pain because we don't understand how they hear, and so they
All right.
apparently will beach themselves. So
All
that's very
right.
sad and depressing.
Some whales. Okay. A crocodile then.
Crocodile.
Crocodile's been around
Crocodile.
since the dinosaurs.
Okay.
They're clearly the most efficient machine on
True.
Earth.
Very true.
Nobody messes with them.
Not often.
Well, sometimes they get turned into boots.
Not
It's the problem every time.
sometimes they
It's
get
like,
turned up, or they're in roadside,
oh
weird
God,
zoos.
yeah. We
you
did
know.
go to one of the worst roadside things ever,
So sad.
where it was like, come see these crocodiles, and you turn off the road, and it's a gas station, and they've got like basically a drained swimming pool indoors
Yeah.
that's just blue, and it has a
Uh-huh.
bunch of
And they're just
crocodiles wandering around, looking very out of their element.
They're not supposed to be
unhappy.
there.
No.
It's a camel in Wales.
Yeah,
like, why
the
are
old
you doing
camel in Wales problem. You
Why
shouldn't
are you
be
doing
here.
You shouldn't be here. I know the problem is the other people, but I guess
Oh.
that was also the problem in the movie to find a partner. So maybe that was the overall point: is people are the worst.
It is, yeah. It's just as hard to pick which animal you want to turn into as it is which person you want to spend the rest of your life with.
Right? Mm-hmm.
Loophole. I want to be a human.
That is an
How
animal.
about that?
That is an
Prove to
animal.
me that's not an animal.
Leave me be.
Mm-hmm. Or, other loophole, going back to Ben Whishaw, I would just say, I would like to please be Paddington. You know?
The bear everyone loves.
No. And I don't want to be a bear. I want to be Paddington.
Oh, specifically.
Specifically.
Maybe they can't do that, and they would turn you into a bear. How would you feel about being a bear?
I mean, a bear would be pretty cool.
A bear would be all right.
Yeah.
Especially one of those fun ones who's like in Colorado, like opening car doors and eating Slim Jims out of people's cars.
Right.
Or like hanging out in their pools and shit, like on
Right.
their porch swings.
I want to be, yeah.
That would be all right.
I want to be a bear that goes viral for sitting in a hot tub.
Roly-poly viral bear. That's the answer.
All right. We figured it out. We'll see if they can match the specifics.
There we go.
I'd be like, okay, top choice, Paddington.
Okay.
If you could do that,
Mhm.
great. I will eat marmalade. I'm fine with that. Choice 2. Okay, if you
with
can't do that, how about just a viral video bear chilling in a hot tub in Denver? What if they're like, I can't promise that. You're just going to be a bear in Wales.
Whales? They don't have no pools
I don't know
in Wales.
I don't know if it was Wales or not.
I
They don't
have-
have
I have no
camels
idea.
either, but they got them now.
I know they do. That's what I think. Yeah, if you're just going to be let go near the hotel, well, now I got a different answer, I feel. Although in those woods, maybe a bear would be pretty comfortable, actually.
This is obviously, once again, indecisive people don't belong in the lobster
Not
world.
at all. They're like,
But then
you
again,
have
now
to
that
be
I think about
heterosexual
it,
or homosexual.
right?
Ooh,
Don't make me choose.
ooh.
This is like Cheaty's worst nightmare.
Oh my God. Chidi and Agonye would hate the lobster world. They'd be so unhappy.
Oh man, I wish it was more like, I don't know if anybody's read his Dark Materials or watched the show, but you know, you're demon, your animal self that lives outside your body,
Mhm.
settles as an animal
Right.
as you enter puberty.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you don't necessarily decide. You do. It sort of becomes what it needs to be
Right.
part of you. I'm a dog or a leopard or a bird. A lot of sailors will have fish or
Right,
dolphins or something.
Or parrots.
So that's where I like it. It's like, you know what? Let my subconscious self determine which animal I'm going to be.
Right. Well, and that's what's interesting about that is that they'll be turning, or they'll be not turning, but they'll be getting older and trying different things. Their demons will try different things.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, this feels good. I don't know why, but I like this. I like this one. You know what I mean? Like, it's probably not even like an animal I particularly like or my favorite version of you. It's just this one feels right to me. This is it. You know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Which is why
the idea of demons are so fascinating to me.
I think that's why. Yeah. I think that's why I would end up as a platypus, because it'd really just be a mishmash. Like, clearly no clear decision was made here.
Could not decide.
There's a lot of ideas going on at once. Well, I'm very glad AI made us watch this movie.
Me too.
I'll say that. There's one good thing AI's done in this world. It's got us to watch The Lobster finally, which we've talked about for years.
We sure have.
Yeah.
We sure have. It's been on the list for a long time, and I'm glad we finally
did
do it. It was really good.
Yeah,
I really
final thoughts, review, anything like that?
I really liked it.
Yeah.
I think so. It's one of the, it's A24, so it's very weird and moody, kind of. It's not moody in terms of like glum, just it has a mood, a very pervasive mood to it. And I thought it did very successfully. I was very drawn in. The performances were really good.
Phenomenal.
Very, very weird idea that I thought they executed nicely. I have a lot of questions about the worlds that they live in, but that's okay. They didn't answer them. I got no problem with that.
I think that's one of the things I loved about it, too, because I really enjoyed it. Like you said, outside of just A24, just Yorgos Lanthimos. We loved The Favorite.
Oh, The Favorite.
So I love these movies that kind of take place in this weird alternate sort of reality, and you don't have to answer every question. Sometimes I get real bogged down in, like, especially independent sci-fi.
Oh, yeah.
Where they're like, I must give you the reason that some people wear blue shoelaces and some people wear black shoelaces. Like, it goes back 300 years in the history of this world to the Great Battle of Yorganoth. And I'm like, I don't know. You don't have to answer every question.
Right.
Let me just live in the world. Like, all I need to know is what's happening and the general idea of the universe they exist in. And that's enough.
Yeah.
I don't need to bog down. I don't need an explanation for why. There's so many questions that you could sit and be like, well, okay, so they track people down at the mall, and if they're single, they send them to this hotel. How big is this hotel? Are there multiple hotels? All this, it doesn't matter.
Right.
We're just watch the story that you're seeing.
I think so. It's cool to just be presented a world and be like, I've changed some of the rules of this world is a little different. It's like you went to a different dimension or something where it's slightly, kind of feels familiar, but it's also very, very different. And you're like wrong-footed a lot about what's going on.
Yeah.
And you don't know everything, and it's possible that that's part of it. They don't know the answer. They don't know exactly how the machine works that turns you into an animal and all that stuff. So it's like part of it is the not knowing. That's what's scary. Is like we don't know. Like maybe there are a bunch of hotels. Maybe there aren't. Like maybe there's this one hotel. Maybe every animal used to be a person. Maybe some of them aren't.
That's what they said. That's why there's so many dogs.
Yes.
Because people want to pick dogs. I was like, oh, that's why there's so many dogs?
Okay, well, that's really, are there any dogs that are just dogs?
Right.
Like, so there's lots of, but that's what makes it fun. You can live in that world so much longer than the movie lasts.
Yeah.
You can just sit and enjoy and like be thinking about those things and kind of even imagine those people being also presented with that question and having to come up with a policy around it and being like, okay, well, now we have to come up with this. What do we do in that scenario? Oof. What happens to them? What is the animal nobody wants?
Yep.
Okay. Do we ask everybody what's the last animal you'd want to be turned into? And like the mean answer, like the one that most people said or something, that's the average one that nobody likes. So that's the one. Like, how do you even determine that?
Yeah.
So anyway, it's just is it something you think about from childhood, what animal you'd want to be turned into since you know how the world works?
Oh, yeah.
That might be something you think about for your whole life.
You never know when you're going to end up at that hotel.
There must be some age comes along where you have to find someone. Is it always the hotel? Or do you have a chance to naturally make a match?
So you liked it.
I did. I did.
I liked it a
really
lot.
enjoyed it. I thought
Solid A.
that was a good, very weird, cool movie. I'm
Yeah.
glad we watched it.
I'm going to give it, I also love that she said, how much do you love your wife on a scale of 1 to 15?
14? That's a very good score.
How much do you love me on a scale of 1 to 15?
Ooh, well.
I love her more than anything with all of my heart. 14.
14.
What's the point of?
Then what's the one? I know, right? And then how crazy to be, well, I can definitely live alone. She can't live alone. Like, what was that? I don't know.
Well, on a scale of 1 to 15, what's the lobster for you? How many lobsters?
How many lobsters?
1 to 15 lobsters.
1 to 15 lobsters. 1 being not a good amount of lobsters.
Yeah.
Okay, and 15 being the best amount of lobsters.
The most lobsters.
The most lobsters.
Maybe
you give
too many
something?
lobsters.
Probably.
Yeah.
Depends how many people you're eating with, I
Okay.
guess. I would say, I'm going to say 12 lobsters.
Yeah.
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 I'm going to say 12 lobsters.
Okay, that's good. That's not too crowded.
Not too
If
much.
it's too many lobsters,
enough
and there's no more
lobster.
water in the pot. So yeah, I would say 12 and a half lobsters.
12 and a half.
Yeah.
There are no half sizes.
There are no half sizes. 14 or 15. 44 or 45. Also, English shoe sizes. Come on, 44 or 45, that's so many numbers.
Crazy.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, that's all we need. Why are you going so high? He said 44 size shoes. I was like, a giant? Oh, yeah, that's right. They're probably
Colin
talking
Farrell
about
is 11 feet tall.
centimeters or something.
I guess
It probably
so.
makes more sense.
Probably.
Anyway, we can get into all
Also,
that.
why no half sizes? That's crazy.
Hey, look, they got a
No
limited...
middle. You just no
There's
middle,
no middle.
allowed.
Very binary.
No middle
Very rigid
allowed.
structure. I love it.
It's either going to be a little too big or a little too small, but
Yeah.
it can't be just right.
Oof. Ain't that the
Very
truth?
weird.
There's no Goldilocks in
No.
the lobster world.
So true.
There's no
Just the three
Goldilocks.
bears.
I'm going to get just the 3 bears. Paddington, the viral bear,
And Cocaine
and the
Bear.
wild, and Cocaine Bear. Those are the 3 bears. Goldilocks and those 3 bears. Now that I want to see.
I actually would totally watch that movie. Oh my God. Goldilocks is like Tank Girl in this movie or something because she's got a lot to deal with.
She's still in serious, but Paddington's going to have to help her out.
Paddington, Denver Pool Bear, and,
Cocaine Bear. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in for this discussion about The Lobster. What an insane movie. We're going to be back next week with proof. We don't need to play a game this week because the AI already assigned us something, and we're too sick to play anything else anyway. So next week, we're going to be watching Proof from whatever year that was, 1990 something. It's got Hugo Weaving in it. So watch that one, and we'll meet you next week for it. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Now we're trying to save the world as we race against the clock.